Welcome to our session today. My name's Donna and we're going to have Lisa with us today who's going to be taking us through our webinar. But before we start, I just want to do a little bit of a housekeeping thing to check that you can see and hear us correctly. If you can see the Club ZING sign on the page, if you could raise your hand on your icon on your device, you'll see that on your control panel. Oh, that's great. I've got hands going up all over the place. Fabulous. So we'll pop those down. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to Lisa now, who's going to take us through her session today. Are you there, Lisa?
I am here. Good morning. Good morning to everybody who's tuned in, and thank you for tuning in. I think it's very timely that you get organised in time to listen to this, and if you haven't, of course, you can listen to it after or share it with somebody else. So I would love to teach you what I know about more clients. Is that the answer? Well, more clients is everything, and everything will be all right. And that's often a question I get asked when people approach us for private coaching. They say, I just need more clients. I think, okay, right, you need more clients. And is that the answer? So if you had more clients, would everything be okay? Is that the answer? Next slide, Donna. And for most people, the answer is they say, yep, that's all I need. If I had more clients, then I would be fine. There's a little bit of a delay here. Here we go. Yes. Is that true? Yes. Is it true? Well, I don't know. What I'd like to know is how long have you had your salon in the first place? So if you've had a salon for 10 years and you're still chasing more clients all the time, I'd like to know, what did you do with the ones you had? And people go, oh, interesting. I think, well, you think about it. If you've been looking after, 50 clients a week for years on end, how come they don't stay with you? I'd like to know why. And the reason I want you to know why is because if you don't stop whatever it is that means that the clients don't stay with you, you're just going to keep repeating the same challenges. Most of you have enough clients already. And people go, no, I don't. I think, yes, you do. You probably service, let's say we'll work on a salon of 50 clients. If you have 50 clients, if they were a better quality of client, as in if they were to do a cut and a colour every time, then absolutely you have enough. So maybe the answer isn't just about I need more clients. The answer needs to be I need the clients that I would like to look after. But before you do that, you have to have a look at some other things, and that's what I'm going to show you today in this webinar. Next slide, Donna. So you need to be ready, and I think most people aren't ready. So they want more clients and they bring them in exactly the same format as they had before. And guess what? You get exactly the same result. You don't ever start to run in a suit, do you? If you were going to run, you'd go and get changed, and then you'd put on your runners and off you'd go. So you need to be ready, and not so much in the way of what you're wearing. You need to be ready in the way of what you're thinking. Okay, being everything to everyone is not the answer. I think you need to think about what kind of client are you looking for. Is your team ready to service these new clients? If I was to give you 10 more clients a week and you were to do the whole 10 of them, then maybe they might stay. But if you give the clients and spread them across the team, or what we mostly do is give them to the newest person on the team who doesn't have a clientele, or even they might not be a new person, but they give it to someone on a team who doesn't have as many clients, and then they wonder why the client doesn't return. What you need to do is you have to have a look at what's happening. What is your return on that client? So if a client is given to Susie, there's probably a 50% chance she won't return. If a client's given to Sarah, there could be an 80 to 90% chance that she will return. So I'm asking you, why aren't you giving it to the person who knows what to do with the client, how to engage them so they do return? So before you're saying, yes, I just need new clients, I think you need to have a really good look at yourself and say, what's wrong with my business model, or what could we improve on that means the clients will stick? And that's where your answer lies. Quite often we'll work with a client that has 50 salon clients every week come through, and we might work with them for 12 months or 18 months and they've still got 50 clients. But you know what? They've got 50 clients that are their ideal client. Clients who take home products, clients who rebook, clients who don't go, oh, just cut a bit off the front, that'll do. Not those kind of clients. Clients who have a full cut and a blow wave and are interested in everything you have to share. So be careful that you are wishing for something that is just going to be repeated the same as it was before. Next slide, Donna. So there's about 5 things. There's probably, if I thought about it, 155 things. But the top 5, I think, things that you need to look out for when you're growing your business and you're going out of your way to find more clients. You need to have accurate data. You need to attract the right clients. You need to look at partnerships for your future success. And you need to learn to count clients just like sheep, in and out. And that's where Katoomba can help you. Nobody counts sheep better than Katoomba. And you need to bolt the back door. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through step by step these 5 things that I think are the most important things you need to do when you're looking at growing your business in any shape or form. Next slide, Donna, please. So the first thing is you've got to think about getting accurate data. If you were to sell your salon, and you will, because everybody moves on, you will not be there for 150 years. You'll be there maybe another 10, could be another 12 months, I don't know. But at any point, you may need to sell your salon. If you had correct, accurate, up-to-date data and a good, healthy database, you actually have something to sell. If your database is a hodgepodge, it's really, really disappointing. And the person who's looking to buy your business will be the first thing that they would point out, saying this is not very good quality. That's what I would teach. I help people to buy businesses and I help people to sell their businesses as well. And one of the things that I say to those who are looking to buy, I say, go and get the data out of the person's computer in the last 3 or 4 weeks, because they're your only accurate clients. 6 weeks tops. But anyone who doesn't come in the last 2 or 3 months, I don't think is an accurate understanding of what's existing in that client base. Right? It saves you so much time to have correct data. So if you typed in Lisa and there came up about 14 Lisas, and some of them are spelt with double I, some of them are spelled L-E-E-S-A, and there's all sorts of spelling. Sometimes I've been in a salon and they've found 2 Lisa Conways and it's me. It's just been entered in twice. So that causes a lot of confusion and it wastes a lot of your time. So if you were to take out all the Lisas that haven't been in the last 6 months or 12 months, then you type in Lisa and probably 4 would come up, not 12. So when you have common names like Susie and Suzanne and things like that, it's really complicated. So you type, and you're looking for it, and it's just stupid. It's just wasting time. It's wasting the customer's time and it's wasting your time. So if your data isn't accurate, it's not good. The other thing is, if your data isn't accurate, then you really can't do any sort of marketing, or even if it's email marketing or mail out marketing, you can't do that because you don't have accurate data. The amount of times we've started working with accounts and then we want to do a mail out, or you might do a promotion for the winter in your quiet times. You might want to send everybody in your A and B grade list a $50 voucher to use when they come in and have a colour in the next month. You might do something like that. Now they get very excited and I say, well, if you post it, it means that they'll put it on the fridge and then their friends will come in their house and go, oh, do you go there? Oh, $50, that's fabulous. They get you talking. That doesn't happen with an email. So if you were to do that and then you look in their database and they go, oh, like there's no capital letters on anything and it's an absolute mess. And I think, well, that's huge. You are at least 6 to 8 weeks before you can change that, and you have to be really diligent. You can, but you can set up a plan that every single person that comes into your business, new and existing, you're going to check their data and put it in correctly. It sets you up to be respected by both the team and the public. When people come in and you're fluffing around in your computer and you're going, oh, how else could you spell your surname? You're thinking C-O-N-W-A-Y, and they go, no, can't find you. And they go, and I say, well, try C-O-M, because sometimes they make that mistake, M for Mary, and they go, oh, here it is. And I'm thinking, really, these people are hopeless. It doesn't give you a very good feeling about the business when you're very inaccurate with your data. Right? You need it for your marketing. So my suggestion was just start now. okay, and have very accurate data. It's absolutely gold. Next slide, Donna. The next question is, who do you want to attract? What's the right client for you? Now, this lady's probably in her 60s. She's got natural grey hair and she's absolutely beautiful. You can tell that she probably looks after herself. So who do you want to look after? Now, you can't say, oh, I want to look after the people who spend big, because it's too loose. It's like saying, I want to marry a man. Really? Like any man. Doesn't make sense. Okay, so the finer that you tune it, the better you'll be. So what you need to say is, our client base, and you can go back and have a look if your data's accurate, you can, is predominantly age between the ages of 30 and 55. Now, if that's the case, then you know how to market for those people. Okay, you know how to market, because if it's age between 30 and 55, there's a different language that you'll use. There is a different place where these people hang out. There is different interests for people in this age group. But how would you know this if you don't have accurate data? So what you've got to do is you've got to think about what is your niche. Now, a classic example of niches is barbering. Years ago, we almost lost the barber. It was almost impossible to find a barber. The ones that were still standing were very daggy and like wet your hair down with a water spray, cut your hair. So they disappeared, or there's still the odd one around. I found one the other day. But barbers are very cool, right? They have tats, they've got tough dogs tied up to motorbikes out the front, and they are really cool dudes, the barbers. Who would have thought that they would have made such a comeback? Interesting, isn't it? So there is a lot of opportunity to niche. Now, I'd like you to look up, there's a chap called Neil, N-E-E-L, Neil Loves Curls. He's a Melbourne chap, and he has a business based around just hair cutting only, and he just cuts curly hair. Amazing. Months before you can get an appointment. He doesn't even answer the phone. He makes them book online. Nobody can call him and make an appointment. He hasn't got time. He takes hour appointments and he works just on curly hair. All right, he's absolutely smashing it. There's another girl, Clarissa. She's an amazing girl as well. So she's niched into balayage. Her colour work is beautiful. Yes, she cuts and she blow waves and does that, but her social media as well is really cool. You might want to look at her. So that's a niche as well. So Coca, I think it's K-O-C-A, Coca Lane, another one you might want to have a look at. So these are people who've decided who they want to attract. It's the work they love. And I don't know about you, but if anybody does what they love, they thrive. So stop doing the things you don't love. If you hate kids' haircuts, put them at a price that they can't come in. You love kids' haircuts, put them at a price that makes you a premium. So you can do whatever you like. There's a market for everybody, but you need to be really honest about what it is you want to do and go down that path, because that's where your passion lies. Next slide, Donna. The next point I want to make is that partnerships are so important. Where else do your customers go? Because that's who you should be partnering with. Are they fit and healthy people? Are they predominantly women between the ages of 20 and 35? Maybe. Are they airline staff perhaps, and all of their clothing is being dry cleaned? That might be a partnership. A yoga studio is a great partnership, but not if you're not interested in natural hair and you want to colour everybody all the outrageous colours, because from my experience, yoga can be quite a holistic approach, and so sometimes they're not keen on chemicals. They might be like a more natural products, and that might suit you too. It could be mums at school. There's lots of things that you could do there. I remember years ago doing a promotion in the school bag on the last day of school term, and it didn't work because it was about if you had your cut and colour in your salon, we'd cut one of your children's hair for free. Now we put it in on the last day of school, and guess what? It stayed in the school bag until the banana went rotty. So what we did the next term is we put it in the last week. So we put it on the Monday of the last week, and then it worked a treat. We had so many colours in the school holidays, and we cut the kids' hair. It might have even been half price for how many kids you had. We cut them at half price, something like that. But it worked really well. And so the juniors were doing that. So there's lots of things that you can do that you have to tweak, but you need to know where your clients come from. So if you don't have many mums at school and you have all little old ladies who do sets, then that's it. Or, you know, you've got to think about where your target market is, and then you can partner with the people who have the same database as you. It could even be a cafe. It might be that you have, you know, like I went to a yoga studio the other day and I said to the girls, where do you find a great coffee? And they told me this cafe called Dark. And when I went down there, I thought, yeah, there was that much Lorna Jane and Lululemon equipment on. Everybody was in their active wear, and I thought, no, absolutely, really cool. So partnerships work a treat, and it's a great way to build your business going forward. It's not like a scattergun approach. If you do a letterbox drop, that just goes everywhere. And I'm not saying letterbox drops don't work, because they do when you have an incredible offer. However, targeting and drilling down on your correct market works a treat. You have to think about what's in it for you and what's in it for them. So if you've got all these yoga people coming to you, what are you offering them, your clients, to go to that studio? So it needs to be a two-way win. So you don't go in saying, can you hand my flyers out? You go in saying, I'd like to have a chat about business, perhaps have a coffee meeting, and then you might say, you know what, this is what I'm thinking to do, and I can do one for you, so it makes it easier for you if you like, and you can put your name and your business in here. It's like a shared thing, and these are all the things that we'd help you with. And then what happens is you can just count how many go that way and how many go that way and celebrate your wins. Works a treat. Really done some fabulous ones over my time. And with all the different types of clients we work with, we look at what their opportunities are. So you might live near a hospital, and so that's a great idea to do a promotion. You know, they have washing hands day and awareness of this day and that day in hospitals, and then you can give prizes to the 4 that win. Maybe they get a $50 voucher in your salon, vice versa. So yeah, it can work really well. High school's another one. Although they're a bit tight with their money. I didn't say that, but high schools can be a bit tight with their money, but not all of them, but lots, and that's only my experience. And so you've got to think about who you want to partner with. It's really important. Next slide, Donna. The other thing that I find is people don't know how to count sheep. Right, so I did sheep because it's in New Zealand, Katoomba. I thought it was pretty clever. So what you need to do is you need to learn to count your sheep. And so counting sheep means you just count clients in and you count clients out. So what I mean by that is you need to say how many new clients you get every week, and you also need to know how many clients you lose. So retention report doesn't interest me. I want the names, because when you're talking to a hairdresser or a beauty therapist about retention report, you ask them next time and see if they truly understand. What I know is that they understand a name. So you might say, Sarah Phillips hasn't been back. They go, oh, hasn't she? So much more interesting to a team member than your retention report is at 75%. Okay, and I understand that 75% of your clients come back. That's great. But what I want to know is the names of the ones that didn't come back, and perhaps we can workshop why. Your Katoomba machine is like a Mercedes-Benz or a Ferrari. It is a machine. The stuff that it can tell you, it's the best team member you'll ever have. The challenge is most people use it like a glorified till or a handbag. They just chuck everything in it. They don't respect the way that it can work, and it's really disappointing. I think you need to learn these things. I think you need to set time aside to have good technology and to understand your technology, because that's where the money's hiding in your business, guys. If you could look and really teach someone on your team where they're falling down and where they need to improve in a very caring way, and add water and sunshine onto that person, you will grow an amazing team member. But when you don't, it just doesn't make sense. I'm fascinated at the amount of salons that we meet, and they give you a lump sum as to what the money comes in. Yeah, we're doing 12 grand a week. Okay, so who's doing the 12? Who's doing the most? Oh, hang on, I'll go and have a look. Oh, and what about base and services? Oh, hang on, I'll go and have a look. It's no good the computer knows everything. You need to know these things. It's really important that you learn to count sheep. You learn to count them out. So you'll say, this week we're up by 3 on our treatments. 3 better than last week. This week we're down by 2 on our products. So you need to put the score up somewhere in handwriting, somewhere in the salon so everybody can see it. Whereas once you look at that page, it's like everything's there and they look at it and it's like, okay, right. To me, it's like when you go into the paint store in Bunnings and you think, right, I need some deck paint. And you look around and you think, oh, where do I even start? That's what all the numbers look like to most of your team members. They just think, yeah, whatever, you know, cool, that's nice, thank you. But if you were to pick the numbers out and handwrite them somewhere, you could write them on a mirror in the back room or get a chalkboard, or you could just put them up somewhere where they can understand them. Sarah, retail, 3 products this week, well done. Okay, so if you were to do things like that, then it really sinks in. Really sinks in. Don't type it up all pretty, handwrite it. It makes a huge difference if you write it. It sinks in, so it's really important. You have to learn to use your software properly. You really do. It's going to take some time, but what you learn is amazing. It'll just change your world. I'm fascinated at once we start to break down. We do this in our discovery meeting. We go through each of the team members and what their KPIs are and what they should be. And just by the person collecting that information, I say to them, what did you find out? When they go, oh my God, I didn't realise such and such was only doing this much a week, or this happened, or they go, well, I'm sure we do more basic services than that. And then they say, then they work out that people are doing them and they're not charging clients because they forget. So by doing it in the way that Zing teaches you, it really opens up your eyes. It's really cool. It's like the best trick that we can do. It's amazing. Now, your next thing is you need to lock the back door. You need to bolt that back door. So by that I mean clients come in through the front door and then you lose them out the back. Right? And this is the saddest thing. If you get 10 new clients and you're not ready, if your clients are coming into your salon and getting a very average experience, well, you know what? They can get that anywhere. So what you've got to do is you've got to decide how are you going to improve your service. And if you're not watching the lost clients, then you'll never improve it. In most businesses, lost clients are 16 weeks back. So if you go back 16 weeks from today, that's 4 months. And you just collect 1 week, and Katoomba does it beautifully. You put, say, the 1st of February to the 8th of February. Let's use that as an example. So all clients that came in between the 1st, oh, I'm glad you changed slides, you gorgeous girl, thanks. Thank you. If you collected all the clients that came in from the start to the end of that week, the 1st to the 8th of February, and haven't been back since, right? And then you'll get their names. And that's what I want you to look at. Now, you might look at it and go, well, that's a 4-year-old child, not really high on my priority. Then you go, that lady lives in Queensland. Yep, she came down for a wedding. That's okay. What about this one? You think she's her first time into our salon and she never came back. Interesting. Now, some people say, oh, but she only came once. I think, I know. But you know how much work it is to get a client to pick up the phone and come into your salon? You don't disregard them like, oh, she only came once. No. Why aren't people staying? If you're doing promotions and people aren't staying, well, you need to look at your service before you continue with your promotion. And that's why we have an order of what we teach. We don't teach the marketing until we make sure the customer service is improved. So if you look at it that way, you need to bolt the back door, okay? Really important that you bolt the back door. And by that, I mean that you look at where you're falling down and you train people. There's lots of ways that you can catch them before they get to 16 weeks ago. You can do courtesy calls, a bit like the car yard does. You know, I used to have a Mini and BMW used to service my Mini, and they'd say, just a courtesy call to make sure that you're happy with the service you received this week, Lisa, and your Mini's running well. And I used to think, oh, how nice is that? So I implemented that in my salon and it was amazing. And they're the sort of things that we can teach you at Zing. So, you know, which clients do you call? You don't call all of your clients. You're not calling a 4-year-old child and asking if he's happy with his haircut. Of course you're not. So there's a strategy, and everybody's salon's different. So we would work with you on that one. But your retention report is a start, but it doesn't give you enough to explain the team member's action. Okay, so it's really important that you very much drill down on there. Next slide, Donna. Every move you need to make makes you money. It's just that simple. Money is one of those things that scares people. They're frightened to ask for a pay rise, or they're frightened to talk about money, and because the team member hasn't said anything, well, then they get away with it. No, money has to be spoken about. It makes the world go around, and in business, it is your friend. There's nothing worse than financial stress in a business, and quite often people put their hand up far too late when they come to Zing, and I think, why didn't you call us when you first were having trouble with your BAS? And they go, oh, because I was a bit embarrassed or something. I think, oh, don't worry about it, girlfriend. You've got no idea what we've seen at Zing. Nothing would frighten us. You have to get that financial stress down because it's exhausting. You think about it. If you had a sick child and you needed to be, in the hospital for a week, if you had money in reserve, you could pay someone to cook meals for the other children and your husband at home. You could pay somebody to do the cleaning of the salon. You could pay someone to do the wages. You could pay somebody. Money will get you out of trouble. It doesn't make you happy, I agree, but it'll get you out of trouble, and there's nothing wrong with money. So everything that you do in your business, we gear it around what's the financial return on that. No good sending out something like happy birthday and that's it. No, it needs to have a call to action so they can bring their birthday card, redeem something, and it creates business, and that's what it does. Business is where the money is. You can't be just busy in all of your busyness. That doesn't work. Every move you need to make needs to make you money, and that's business. So attracting the right team members requires money. You need to be able to put a fantastic ad in. That costs money. Attracting the right clients requires money. But everything you do, we need to give you a return on your investment. Okay? 9 out of 10 of you already have enough clients. Unless you're just starting out, you've already had enough clients or you have enough clients now. It's a matter of the quality of clients, and there's lots of promotions that you can do that don't cost much money at all, and then there's others that will mean you've got to put your hand in your pocket. But everything we do, we can justify and say what the risk is and what the reward is. So we can help you with any of those things above. I hope I've excited you to think that you can do this and that you want to get on with your day, and you think, yeah, that's true. You know what? I say this to everybody. Zing teaches salon owners all the things that they are expected to know, but were never taught. Okay? Now you think about that. What business training have you had? What training have you got in the way of listening skills? What training have you got in the way of disciplining people who don't do what you need them to do? Probably like me, none. I should have changed slides too, Donna, to the second last slide. So don't be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. It's okay. I was the same. I had this great ball of energy when I started my business, and about 3 years in, I was starting to get tired because one leaves and you get another one, and that works for a while, and then they leave. And I was so disheartened because I thought, oh, I must keep training people and they leave. And someone said to me, you know what's worse than that? You don't train them and they stay. I thought, absolutely, that'd be terrible. And I bet some of you have people that haven't been trained enough and they just stay. Everybody we come across can do better. We know that. We prove it every week. Week after week we prove it. Everybody we come across can do it better. And what's really exciting is sometimes for the first time in a very long time you've got someone to help you, someone to stop you taking 100 years to get to where you need to go. So we can help you. That's not a problem. So hopefully this morning has you thinking, because that's what we do. We stretch your head when you come to work with Zing, or you listen to anything, or you read one of my books. I want you to realise that you can do it. Everything you have is at your ready. And I say this from the Dr. Seuss book. With your brain in your head and your feet in your shoes, you can go wherever you choose. So what you've got to do is you've got to choose what do you want to work on and how are you going to action it. So the last slide is thank you. Thank you very much for listening. I really enjoy putting my webinars together, and I always hope that you'll watch them more than once, because often you miss things, and I want you to go back and think, yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a note there. And don't write 100 things on your list, just write 2, maybe 3, that's it. Just do those and then go and write another list. Okay? Thank you for listening today. I've really enjoyed being here. Have a great day.
Great, thanks Lisa. If anybody has any questions, we have about 30 seconds before we finish the session if you wanted to pop a quick question in there. While we're waiting for that, Lisa, you mentioned about some promotions and things. What's one of your favourite promotions that you would recommend people use?
To create interest and more clients?
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably partnerships. Partnerships work really well, and once set up properly, I think people don't do them well, and they drop off flyers at somewhere and say, can you hand those out, and it doesn't work. And I think we've all been on the receiving end of that when someone's come into our salon and they just say, can you hand these out? And I think, yeah, okay, thanks. And when they go, I'll chuck them in the bin. I might leave them there for a couple of days. So I always say, oh, I wish they weren't printed on the other side because I can use them for shopping lists. But that doesn't work. So I think partnerships work the best, but there is a clear strategy around that you need to take your time to build a proper relationship. So you might go to 30 businesses, and out of those 30 you might get 10 businesses that are interested, and out of those 10 you might get 3 or 4 that are very interested, that work repeatedly. So it's a process, a bit like a dating game. Refer a friend is another good one too. Refer a friend works a treat, but there needs to be some clear guidelines around that as well, because you know, you don't want them referring 5-year-old children, but that works well. The only reason refer a friend doesn't work well is your offer is pathetic, you know, $5 off really. You've got to think about what would make you change teams, and the other thing is that your team members don't hand them out. You make them, print them, they sit on the front desk. So you need to measure them as well, what goes out, and that's where counting sheet comes in, and you know, having your meetings every week. But all the promotions in the world will not work if your team aren't excited to get those people in. I don't like discounting, but what I do like is giving away something in order to gain a client. I'm more than happy to do that. I don't see that as discounting. Okay. So does that answer your question?
It does, thank you. That's really great. Our time is up, unfortunately. Thank you very much for joining us, Lisa, and as always, it's been wonderful. And for everybody else, have a fantastic rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.